Hello, loves. Good morning. I wanted to just come on here today and just speak from the heart and share who I am and why I'm here and talk a little bit about my mission. It's been a long time since I have shared this with you and come from this space because there are so many times where I'm talking about the things that I'm doing and the programs and the courses I'm creating and the ways that you can work with me. And I share a lot of my heart and my soul and my purpose and mission and all of that good stuff in those transmissions and in those lives. But I thought we would just talk about it just straight up today. Hey, April. Hi, Christina. Thanks for joining me, guys. So I hope you guys are having a great start to your day. I'm having a little bit of cacao, which is like my favorite way to start the day. And we've got some nice angelic sound healing in the background, by the way. 999 hertz right now. So if you receive any angelic messages, that might be why. But all right, let's talk about it. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Abby O'Keefe and formerly Abby Esben Shade. I grew up in West Virginia, super small town girl. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. Yes, God bless my dad. And I went to school in Pennsylvania. I moved to Boston after I graduated from college, lived there for 4 years, met my now husband, and we now live in the Midwest. We live in Minnesota. And hi, you guys. Hi, Mel. And we have 2 beautiful children and a fur baby. So our fur baby, Toby, he's a Yorkie and he's 10 and a half, which is crazy because he still acts like a puppy. And then we have Isla, our daughter, that's 2 and a half. She'll be 3 in December. And then I just had my second daughter, Lily, and she was born on May 3rd. So she is a little over 2 months old, 10 weeks yesterday. And she actually has her 2-month checkup today. So that's like some details about me. Something that is really important to know about me is that I have struggled with anxiety and chronic stress my entire life. So you might, if you've popped into my profile before, you might see that it says Abby O, mental health mentor. And I consider myself really in the mental health sector. And mental health coach, if you want to call me that, mental health mentor, whatever you want to call me. That's what I consider myself, specifically working with people who want to feel better mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So, a little bit of background. Had anxiety since I was a really little kid, which definitely stemmed from being highly sensitive. I didn't learn that until later in life. But anxiety really taught me and showed me the complexity of human emotion and how deeply that I could felt like a curse kind of my whole life. So it made me very empathetic and very compassionate towards other people, but it felt really, really hard because I always was tense and nervous and fearful because the depth of which I could feel emotion, and that includes happiness and joy, was so deep that it felt paralyzing at times. So like my happiness would be so intense that I would just cry and cry and cry and cry and then start thinking the worst. And same with my sadness and my fear and my stress. It was just so intense, and I would create a lot of stories in my mind of what could happen, the potential of what could happen in the future, what might happen, and I would plan for those scenarios. And obviously living like that is really exhausting, and I saw therapists for years. I went on medication for a 3-month time period, and what has liberated me from going from feeling like a prisoner of my mind to feeling completely empowered by my gift has been showing up and practicing and utilizing different tools. And the first thing that did that for me was Kundalini. And very shortly after that, it was Reiki. So Kundalini Meditation, I found back in 2015. So was it before? Yeah, it was way before I got pregnant with Isla, but yeah, it was before I got married. So I think, or it was early 2016, I think it must have been. So early 2016, I found Kundalini yoga and meditation, and it really changed my life. The first time that I ever did a Kundalini meditation, it felt like coming home. I recognize it now as I've probably done Kundalini or taught Kundalini or been in relationship with that practice in previous lifetimes. Because it just really felt like my soul knew it, and it was so beautiful for me. It was the first time that I ever felt peace. For those of you that are overthinkers or control freaks or worriers, you know what it feels like to really feel trapped by your mind. And so when my mind was quiet and my body was quiet and I wasn't having any of those physical manifestations of anxiety, which I experienced a lot of, then it was just, it felt like surreal. It really felt like surreal. It was like an out-of-body experience the first time that I felt peace in mind, body, and soul. And I knew that if I could feel it in that moment for those 3 minutes and the 10 minutes after, that I could feel it forever. And I say that a lot, and I think it can sound really hard to believe, because if I've spent my whole life struggling with anxiety, and people my whole life told me that coping and managing it was like the best that I was going to be able to do, that like healing it wasn't, I mean, that wasn't even in the conversation. I don't know how else to put it, but it just, that never even came up. Like I didn't even think about it. Like people would call me Anxiety Abby. Like it was not a nickname, but like, and I called myself that too. It was a part of who I was. And it took a long time for me to realize that anxiety and stress, that they're not personality traits, that they're emotions that we just get stuck in because we create attachment based in potential stories, right? Stories that we tell ourselves, stories that we worry about, stories that we think could happen. And I didn't know that it was, I didn't have that relationship with it. It just felt like who I was. So there is also a little bit of fear of who am I without it? You know, is that version of me safe? Can I explore that? And when I felt peace for the first time, I knew it was like my soul woke up and was like, this girl, this is what you've been chasing, and it's here for you, and it exists for you, and it can exist for you forever. Like this doesn't, waking up in anxiety every day, spending every day anxious with heart palpitations, racing heart, being too scared to work out because you didn't want to get your heart rate up too high because it made you more anxious. I would be anxious of like, I mean, I at one point was like literally felt like I was scared of everything. Like I didn't want to be in social situations. I traveled with an enormous amount of medication, like just in case. I didn't want to eat foods that I had never eaten before, and I was always scared of having allergic reactions to things. I never had like social anxiety where it was always like really, it was really easy for me to talk to other people, but and I loved that. Like I love meeting new people so much. Tim has always joked that like I make best friends wherever I go, and it is true. Like with everybody, I love people so much, but I was always really positive, optimistic, relatable, excited on the outside, and then inside I was struggling so much I was just at war with myself all the time. It was like if I felt happy, what was the bad thing that was going to happen? Or like, this is too good, something bad must be around the corner. Or, it was always that kind of doom and gloom. It was like a cloud over my head. Does anybody relate to that? Like anxiety just really felt like I couldn't enjoy things like fully because I had this cloud over me. Like I would be having so much fun. This might make sense to you guys. I would be in a place where I would be having so much fun, right? There would be no reason for me to have any stress or worry, but it was like I was always thinking, but what was I anxious about? But wait, there's something I should be anxious about. That was the thought that was always in the back of my mind. Like this is so much fun, I'm having so much fun, but wait a minute. What am I supposed to be anxious about right now? And then I would like remember something, or I would make something up, or I would think of something. And then it was just this like cloud. It just felt like this weight on me all the time. It just followed me everywhere. It was like I could not live my life fully happy because it was always in my mind that something had to be wrong, or that I had to be anticipating something going wrong. And it just was really exhausting. You know, it's exhausting to be on that hamster wheel of fear that it never goes away. It just never went away, you know. And we're not meant to live inside one emotion, and we're not meant to just experience, even if we are experiencing other emotions, we're not meant to have this kind of dark cloud over us or this kind of weight on us. And so the first time I felt peace when I started that practice, that Kundalini meditation, it it was just it wasn't like a door open. It was like I busted out of the house, like a bomb went off inside the house, and I was just like could see clearly for the first time, like around me. It's like I was in this house that was just built out of anxiety and stress and fear, and it was like it blew it up. And I saw outside of me, everything around me was peace, and it was like, I don't know what kind of visual I could give you, but it was like people like knocking on the door all around my house, like in the embodiment of peace, right? Like if I'm giving you a visual of like what this was like, it was like they were knocking on the door, trying to get in, like let me in, and I just wouldn't, right? I had all the walls up, and then I saw it all for the first time, and I was like, this has been trying to reach me forever. This isn't about coping or managing. This is about healing. And in 2016 was when I really like fully dove into my healing journey and just like went all in. I was like, if I can feel this in this moment, I can feel this forever. Like this gets to be, it just became something that I lived by, like my new mantra. And I had so much hope and belief. And it took a lot of time. It took some practice. But the more that I practiced, the longer I was able to hold that frequency and hold the vibration of peace and just be in that for longer. And it's been amazing to witness my stages of growth. And like looking back, I think about it all the time of where I was in 2016 and what my mental state was like and where I am now, and just how it really just feels like a different life, a lot of different parts of my life leading up to here. And I know that in 5 years, this will feel like a different life. You know, it's crazy because I'm so committed and devoted to my growth and my healing. And so, you know, that's who I am. And it's also why I'm here. And I redid the bio in my Instagram profile yesterday because I was just feeling like, you know, I want to communicate why I'm here a little bit better. And I want people to understand better what I do and why I show up. And I've spent the last week in that thought, like that conversation with myself. And why I'm here is because I think there is so much still stigma around mental health. There's a lot of embarrassment and shame around and guilt around struggling with your mental health and your mental, I really like to call it like mental wellness. And ultimately, my goal and my purpose and my mission on this planet, like the work I know that I'm here to do, is to help people feel liberated from their minds so that they can live more from a soul-centered place. So that not that you can't use your mind or shouldn't use your mind or be friends with your mind, right? But my mission is to give you complete freedom to feel all of the emotions that you're meant to as a human being, and to be able to feel free just in your life, to live the happy moments and feel happy, and then to feel sad in the sad moments, but then ultimately come back to this really beautiful, happy, peaceful state. I've learned through so much practice that is our natural state, that we're made of this love, that we're not made of fear, that it's not innate to us. It's not part of your personality. It's just an emotional cycle we get stuck in that comes from an attachment to things that have happened to us, or from stories that we are worried might happen to us. And we create those stories. One of my favorite mantras for myself, and adopt this if it works for you, is don't create the story. So like every time I start to worry about the worst case scenario, I interrupt it and I just say, Abby, don't create the story. Don't create the story. It hasn't even happened. Why would you create that? And there's also one of my favorite quotes of myself. How vain, right? But one of my favorite things that has come through in meditation for me is there's no difference. Or the only difference between expecting the best and expecting the worst is the emotions that you ask yourself to feel in anticipation of each scenario. So like if you expect the worst, then in anticipation of that, you're feeling fear, you're feeling worry, you're feeling stress, you're feeling frustration or annoyance or whatever it is. And then if you're expecting the best, then you're feeling joy and you're feeling gratitude and you're feeling love and you're feeling deep appreciation and devotion and excitement, right? So then which way do you want to feel? Do you want to feel good or do you want to feel bad? And I chose bad a lot of times, and I wasn't actively, consciously choosing that. It was so subconscious with me. It was just like this pattern that I was in. So I'm not trying to sit here and say like, you can liberate yourself like that. You can shift it like that. It takes time. It takes work. It takes showing up for yourself and like it being a high priority that you feel that freedom in every area of your life. It's not just one time that you shift your mindset. It's not just one time that you do the meditation. It's all the time. You have to, your devotion to your mental liberation has to be like more persistent than the negative thoughts. It has to be more dominant. It has to become your dominant way of thinking. It has to become your dominant way of being, of doing. And you know, there are days like I'll be so straight up with you guys, like I don't want to meditate and that I don't want to do those things, and they don't always feel fun to me, but I do them because I feel good when I do them and I feel better when I do them. And it's not about the power is in the practice, but when you're at a place where the worry and the anxiety is so all consuming for you, you can't think your way out of it. Like a mindset shift isn't going to be enough. You've got to interrupt the programming in the body and revolutionize and alchemize the emotions like through the body so that you can strengthen the nervous system, so that the next time that you're in a situation that triggers you or activates you, that the mind can be observed instead of attached to. And I go deep into all of this in a lot of my programs, and so I don't want to go too deep now. This is more about kind of the all-encompassing why I'm here. And I'm really here to just free you guys, to liberate you so that you can live in the way that you want to live, in a way that feels good to you. Because I just know what it's like to feel bad and to feel really trapped by your own life and your own mind. And I was really scared of my mind, and I was scared to fight back, and I was scared of who I would be if I didn't have anxiety, and I was scared that if I didn't worry about it, it would happen. And I was scared that my anxiety was productive, and like without it, like would everything bad happen because, you know, maybe having anxiety about it keeps it away. You know, I've had all of the thoughts, guys. You're not crazy. You're not alone. I have been there. It's what makes me so qualified to teach it and share it and help you. And I have, you know, so many tools and practices that I teach, and I am like the practice person. I don't know. I haven't come up with a cute title for myself. You guys should let me know. But like, I am like the queen of the practice. Like, I'm going to ask you to show up for yourself and to sit with yourself for 3 minutes a day, for 10 minutes a day, not for hours, but it requires, when you have such a strong attachment to your fear and your anxiety, it requires you to show up for your body, not just your mind, not just interrupting the thoughts, but to show up to recalibrate your nervous system. And that's a lot of the work that I do. It's emotional alchemy and strengthening of the nervous system, so that we get out of that fight, flight, freeze response that we live in for so long. And it's just been fun to think about this and think about my why, and just like very deeply remember at a soul level like why I do what I do and what I'm doing and why it's important to me. And it's important to me because my life has become so good, so unbelievably good. Like everything I ever wanted I have, because so much of that is inner peace, and to wake up and just be happy and to be so in love with my life that it doesn't even make sense. Like, I didn't think this was possible for me. And so I love and I desire to be the example of what's possible for people who've struggled tremendously with mental health. That if people have told you coping and managing is it, and that doesn't feel right to you, good, because it's not what's right for you. That you get to heal at a soul level, that you get to remember why you're here, which is that you're a soul living a human experience, and you get to have more and be at peace and be happy. So yeah, whew, this was like longer and deeper than I anticipated, but I loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I'd love to hear from you about your journey with your mental health, about where you are, about what you're looking for, about how you feel. Share it with me. And today I'm officially opening the doors to Portal of Peace, which is my monthly membership. And it is like steeped in everything I talked about. It was created to remind you that you're not alone, to help you remember who you are and give you practices. It's literally a home of practices. And meditations and tapping and Kundalini and all the good things, Reiki, to help you remember who you are and then peel away everything that you're not, so that you just get to live from that love all the time. I love it. Okay, my loves, enjoy your day. I have to take Lily to her 2-month appointment, but I'll check in with you later. And I love you. Thank you for joining me live. Mwah. Bye, guys.